Hello, hello. So, I'm wearing my blue light blockers, so if there's any reflection, I apologize for that. But I am going to show you guys, let me pull this there. I'm going to show you guys on two different platforms. So, stories. They're really easy. They're intimidating, but they're really easy. Like, there's something that I thought was going to be something that was kind of tough and like, okay, I don't know. Like, it's just one more thing. But the thing is I've actually realized, they're really fun and they're a great way to be able to continue to interact with people. Because the big thing is, guys, so TikTok, I'm not a TikToker. I don't do TikTok. We will talk about Reels another time. But I'm not a fan of TikTok, so I don't have it. But Reels are also important. But people nowadays are so quick. It's like a rapid fire type of situation where they will actually go through your story before they will scroll through their feed. So stories are at the top as soon as you go in. So I'm going to show you on Instagram and I'm going to show you on Facebook. And then I'm going to tell you pretty much what I prefer myself. You have to figure out what you prefer and what works for you. But I will go over what I do and what I prefer between the two based on kind of what works for my brain a little bit more, because my brain works differently for most people. But so I'm going to go into my phone. I'm going to go into my Instagram first. So I'm going to show you on Instagram what it looks like. So I'm using my phone because here's the thing, guys. Stories on your phone are easier than than on your computer. Because it's quick, it's easy. You can take a quick shot of like, oh, look, I've been sitting at this red light for 50 seconds longer than normal, or whatever you want to do. Or even a quick like, hey, I just went through Dunkin' or Starbucks, or like, look, I'm out with my friends, like stuff like that. So I'm going to show you what it looks like as soon as you go into your Instagram. The first thing that you see up at the top is going to be stories. So these are all the people that I follow. There's more. There is more. So all of them. This is everybody's stories that I personally follow. They're all there. Mine is the very first one. It says your story. It'll say the same thing for you guys. Another way to access to put on your story is hitting this plus sign up here. And we will do that in a moment to show you kind of how to do it on Instagram. Now, Facebook. When you go to Facebook, you see right at the top more stories. So you can create your story. I'm trying to like, this mine's too bright right here, but you can create story and you can click that to do it. But this is everybody's story. Your first one is going to be your personal story. I'm trying to scroll. Come on, dude. And then everybody else's stories are going to post on this side. And you scroll through and you look. Real easy. That's up at the top. Again, people are more inclined to go to your stories and look through that before they go anywhere else. Do not even think about it. Cat's trying to climb everywhere and he's going to knock my computer down. But stories are really important to grow your business. Remember, social media is not your number one priority. Your number one priority is going to be your customer service. So treat your customers well and they'll come back and they'll refer. So keep that in mind. I'm going to tilt this because I am in my bed because my computer literally was dying, and that's where my plug is. My office is not fully set up yet, so once it is, I'll move over there. But anyhow, so keep that in mind. Social media is just a tool to boost, in a sense, to get you out there, to show people that you're excited and this is what you're doing. Social media has become more prominent in the world since the pandemic and since it came out. It's the best way to be able to interact with people who are not in front of you, really, and that you don't see every day and stuff like that. So it helps with that. But it is just a tool. It's an extra tidbit that you can use, because the important thing to remember is if social media went away tomorrow, how are you going to be able to market and to reach your customers and etc.? So you have to be able to maneuver and think of ways outside of social media to do that. But that being said, stories, I recommend doing stories every day. With posting is pretty tough for people to see, because there's an algorithm where if you actually are scrolling through your feed, everybody has gone through this. You'll scroll through your feed and you'll be like, wait, I'm not seeing this person's posts. Like, I'm not seeing this person's post until the next day, or I'm not seeing this person's post until a couple days later. That's because the algorithm is not bumping their posts there. I even have had posts that I've posted about something like coming out. So say like something was coming out on a Tuesday and I posted it on a Monday or a Sunday. A lot of people are not seeing that until the day after I post it, or 2 days after, because the algorithm is funky that way. But in your story, people will see that before they will see the post you made. So it is important to focus on your stories a little bit more than just your posting. Yeah, the best thing to do, and this is what I do, this is what other directors and leaders and stuff do, is post on your actual like Instagram or Facebook, like post something Scentsy, what we've recommended, and you guys can figure out a rhythm that works for you. But what we've kind of figured out is, okay, put like 1 post of Scentsy or 2 posts of Scentsy a day, and then post in between about other things. So like maybe one day I'll be like, oh, this is coming today, and with Scentsy, and then I'll be like, okay, like look at what my cat just did, or I'll post about my horse or what I'm doing today or something like that. And then my stories are a mix of everything. So we always kind of just say rule of thumb, post 1 to 2 times a day regarding Scentsy, and then the rest of your posting, do your life. Talk about life. Things you like, things you love, share things that you love, etc. That'll help bump you in the regular algorithm a little bit. But in your stories, post more, do more. Because you'll find in a moment that stories are so much easier to deal with than worrying about posting. Because a lot of times when you're posting things, you either have to post a picture or you have to post words, and then you're just like, oh. But in your story, you can actually go into your story and you can do a pop-up like this and be like, hey guys, what's up? I'm just coming on here to say hello and to say da-da-da, da-da-da, whatever. So it's actually really nice. and you can do more with it, and you can share things to it. It's so cool. So I'm going to show you really quick with Facebook. So I'm on Facebook. All you need to do is go to create story and click that. Things will pop up. So your pictures will pop up. I'm sorry, guys, that it's just like crappy visuals because nothing likes to figure that out. Let me see if my brightness. Let me see. Does that work? Oh, that's a little better. Okay then, brightness. Oh. Anyway, okay, so you can see here that I've got a bunch of different things from my gallery, from my phone gallery that I can post. So say that I wanted to actually post a picture right here that I just took. I could, boop, click that photo. It pops up here. Then you'll see on the sides here, there is stickers at the top on the right-hand side. There's stickers, text, draw, effects, music, and then you can pick more, and then there's the stickers showing up on the bottom. So you can see right here that the share button, it'll actually share, because my Facebook and my Instagram are connected. That is what I would recommend doing. If you've got both, connect them both. Starbucks is just talking to me. Connect them both. And I'll explain why in a moment. But say that you wanted to add a sticker. They're down here, first of all, so you can actually scroll and whatnot. But you can pick music, you could do drawing, you could do text, all those things. But I can also, not only that, but I can also mess with the size of my photo. So you just basically pinch and whatnot, move it however you want to move it. There are, come on, man. There are, dude, don't be rude. Do it this way. So there are different covers you can use. Oh, I swapped it. I didn't mean to do that. But you can use different layouts. What do you call them? Filters. Huh, brain. You can use different filters and everything like that. So I'm going to discard this actually, and then I'm going to do this. You can select multiple photos. You could do one photo. You can do, like, you have the options up here where you could do text and all those things. So play with it. I'm only going to be showing you some of the little basic things. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not going to do too much in-depth stuff. I'm only going to show you some of the things. So you can also, if you're doing this, click the camera at the bottom and you can start to record. So I can sit here, hold this button down in order to record. So see, I'm holding it down and recording. So it's holding it and recording. And then in the end, see, I'm holding it down and recording. So it's holding it and recording. So see, I'm holding it. That is going to be a video. Easy peasy. Holding it and recording. Then you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can keep editing, you can discard it, you can do whatever and do it over again. But here's the thing. Play with it. Play with it. Hit buttons. If it's easier for you just to go in, take a picture real quick, and then mess around with it a little bit, go for it. But that's the thing. Go in, play with it. Press buttons. That is how I learned. That's how everybody else learned as well, is just going in. Like, there's a little bit of a visual here for you guys that I just showed you. But when it comes to actually doing the stories, you figure out what works best for you, what you like to do. Hey, I love that filter. I'm going to use that filter often. I'm going to use it all the time because it's my favorite, or whatever. But definitely go in and play with it. Play with it. Take a little bit of time and just play with it. You will find that, oh, this is actually really cool. This is actually really easy. This is so much better than posting. I'm going to do this all day. But yeah, so Instagram. 2 ways to be able to get into your Instagram and post your story. Actually, 3 in a sense. So first way is going to be going in here and hitting this plus sign. Boop. Hit the plus sign. You'll see post, story, reel, or live. You'll click story. It'll go into your stories pretty much the same way as Facebook. And then you can pick whether or not you want to pick something from here and do that, or you could pick and do a little video. Or take your own photo at that point in time. Another way to do it is swiping this way. It'll go immediately to your stories. So it'll go immediately to your stories, and you'll do the same thing from Facebook. You'll just hold this down. Ta-da, the end. Or from Facebook, I'm going to discard that. Or to make it life easier, click this down arrow, hands-free mode. So that way, all you need to do is boop. It'll go, it'll do everything, and this will actually run for 4 slides. So the max that you can actually do is 4 slides in general. So keep that in mind. It'll only do 4 slides at a time, and then after that point, it's done. Delete that. But there are filters everywhere. You can use the filters. You could do a boomerang. You could do all those things. Like if you hit that down arrow, you can do all of these things over here. Like I said, I have this connected to my Facebook. So I have my Instagram and Facebook connected to each other. What does that mean? It means if I go into my Instagram, which I prefer Instagram whenever it comes to my stories and some posts, because it has more options and it's a lot easier for me to use. Facebook, when you go to type something on your story, if you're trying to put text on there, they don't have very many text options, and their text options are not attractive to me at all. They don't have many sticker options either. Those are not attractive to me at all. I do not like them. So I don't use my Facebook to create my stories. I actually use Instagram. This is what I prefer. You guys need to work with it. Press buttons, do your thing, mess around with it, play with it, get comfortable with it. I can show you these little basics, but when it comes to you doing it, the best thing for you to do is to go in and start playing with it. Toy with it. Experiment with it. Trust me, when you're experimenting and you post something, no one's going to know that you're experimenting if you do not tell them. So for me, I remember the first time that I started with the stories, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. And I can actually go back to some of my stories and be like, oh, that's not because now I know more, because I played around more. And the more that I did it, the more that I figured it out. And the more that I was like, oh, wow, I can do this. So I learned that way. And that's the only way really that you could truly kind of learn how to do it. Yeah, we can teach you the basics of hey, this is how you go into your story. This is why you want to do stories and stuff like that. But ultimately it's going to come down to doing it more now. Because the more you do something after you learn the basics, the stronger you get with it and the better you get with it. Because then the more you're comfortable to explore it and expand. Then the rest of the time I was like, okay, how do I do this? And then I would Google and I'd be like, hey Google, how do I like, I didn't know actually how to do hands-free mode at all. I was kind of confused. I'm like, how do you do hands-free mode? Like, how are people literally doing their stories without holding their phone? I was really confused. So I Googled it and I said, how to do stories hands-free. And it showed me, and it said, just go into the menu and click hands-free. Once you're in your story, go into the menu, which is that down arrow, and click hands-free. And then it'll do 4 slides hands-free. And I was like, what? That's amazing. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this. So I will do that. So if you guys see me sometimes whenever I'm driving or whatnot, it's in my hand, or it's setting somewhere in my vent. But that's what I'm doing, is I'm doing hands-free. If you see my hands, I'm using hands-free mode. So it's pretty cool. And then I'll go in and I'll just slide it and edit it however I want to edit it, and then I'll post it. But when I first started doing it, it was awkward. It was weird. It was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to do the minimal. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to then go for there, and then I'll do stickers and whatever. And then the rest of it came because I was watching other people. I was watching what other consultants were doing, and I was watching what other people I followed were doing. So I was like, you know what? I need to dig in more. And it wasn't I had a realization moment where I was like, okay, I have 2 choices that I can make. One, ask this person how they did it. Or 2, figure it out on my own. Press buttons. Do this, do that, whatever. And I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the second one, because I didn't want to really... It's not that they would have thought that I was stupid, because it's actually something that is really easy. But it's the fact that I was sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I need to be able to step out of that zone of mine and to learn things on my own in order to be able to grow and to adapt and move forward. So I was like, you know what? For myself and for the fact of like growing and stuff, I was like, I'm going to try it on my own. And if I can't figure it out, then I'll go to Google. And if Google doesn't know, then I'm going to ask this person. So asking was my third thing, because I felt, okay, like this is basically where it's going to be. It's going to be me. Either I can sit and ask somebody else and wait and wait and wait, or I can attempt myself and then go from there. And I actually learned more by doing that second option, by going in and figuring it out on my own and being like, what does this button do? What does this do? A lot of stuff I figured out by accident. I didn't even figure it out. Like I did it by accident. Like you see, whenever I was in the Facebook one, especially, because they basically work similarly. Instagram and Facebook work pretty similar. The only real difference is how you go in to do your story, as well as what they have available. Instagram has way more available whenever it comes to filters or texts or captions or anything like that. They have far more available. So I prefer them. And it automatically goes over to my Facebook. So yeah. All my posts go automatically to Facebook, and all of my stories go automatically to Facebook. It's only Instagram specific things that do not. So if it's only available on Instagram, it won't move over. Like Reels won't necessarily move over to Facebook, so keep that in mind. But posts and stuff like that will. So if it's connected, I do need to say that. So ultimately, you saw how easy it was whenever I was trying to figure stuff out, because it's awkward going like this and being like, oh, hey, like I'm literally like, It's like trying to do something in the mirror. You're like, looking and you're trying to like point right here and your hand's like going and you're just like, ah. So it's like that. But I accidentally put filters on that photo. Like, think about that. I know how to do it, but I didn't want to do it at that point. But I accidentally did it because my finger swiped. So play with it. Like, I encourage you to take the time and play with it. It's going to take a little bit of time. It really will. Like, it took me, guys, I've almost been with, like, I've been with Scentsy for about a year and a half now. It took me that long to get to this point. Like, that's reality. It took me that long to get to this point. I really, it's weird because technology has just changed so much since the 90s. And I know there are people who have been around since longer. But it's just baffling to me how much has changed and how I'm not technologically challenged to where I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is or what that, but I feel technology challenged now because I'm sitting here like, when TikTok came out, I was like, what's a TikTok? And then I'm like, what the heck is this? What is a reel? What's a story? Why is all this happening? But the reason why things like this are happening is because Instagram and Facebook are adapting to what the world wants and is focusing on, and etc. They didn't used to have stories. I remember Instagram before it had stories. And then all of a sudden it started with its stories because they realized people wanted something that was more rapid. It was quick. It was easy. No one was really scrolling through anymore. There was just so much information that nobody was scrolling. So they made that. They looked at what was going on and they made that. Then Facebook fell into that and started with that more recently. Sorry. I swear allergies are insane this year and it's going to get cold again. But anyway, they fell in suit with them, with Instagram. So they're adapting. And ultimately, in order for us to be able to continue network marketing and to continue a business and continue to grow, we have to adapt. Just like Instagram and Facebook, we have to adapt. Another thing I will talk about in another video is Reels. Facebook started Reels more recently, but Instagram started Reels a couple months back because they noticed that they were losing their members, their people who were signed up with Instagram. They noticed that they were losing a lot of their accounts to TikTok. So they made Reels. So that way their people would come back. They're adapting with what is going on with the world right now and the people. And that is exactly what we need to do, is adapt. Because unfortunately, if we do not adapt, if we still want to stick with the old ways, posting was comfortable for me. I was like, this is what I know how to do. This is comfortable. I'm going to do this. But the reality was I was reaching less people by posting alone versus getting out of my comfort zone and playing around with stories and saying, okay, I'm going to get involved with stories more. So I post actually on my Instagram less than I use my story. If you go through my story, you will see in my story that I have multiple different things throughout my story. It has to do with everything. So like, this is my feed. Let me see dates here. So this is my feed. This was 4 days ago. 4 days ago. 3 days ago. I posted a reel 2 days ago. I posted another reel 2 days ago. I posted this 2 days ago. And I posted this 1 day ago. And one post yesterday. And then one post so far today on my Instagram. That is my Instagram feed. As of today, which is the 25th. My story, let me go back. So your Instagram story will keep up to 23 hours. So it'll keep your video or photo or anything for 24 hours. So here is my story. People can watch through this, or they can tap and go through every single slide. This is my story. Notice how many, if you can see it, notice how many notches are up at the top. They're very faint, but notice how many notches. There are a bunch there. I post in my stories every day throughout the day. There is a reason I do that in my stories more than I do that in my posts. And part of the reason why, so my Instagram is set up at like a business. So I have insights, and I do this on purpose. So like, probably shared about 12 posts this month, 261 stories, and 7 reels just this month. One of the things you can do and you can look at, so my stories throughout this month, those numbers at the bottom are views. That means that I'm reaching that many people, whether they follow me or they don't. So always I keep my Instagram public, I keep my Facebook private. My VIP group is private, my Facebook is private, but my Instagram is public. Because more people are on Instagram, and you really don't want it to be private because you want people to see that. There are certain things on Facebook that are like more private, so I'm like, okay, like private. But Instagram, not so much. I don't have that much information on there, so mine is not private. Take your Instagram off of private. That is going to be where that's going to be how your business is going to be more flourishing whenever it comes to you sharing, as if it's private or not. So keep that in mind. But like the first video here had 22 views, the second one had 21, the third had 19. It'll tell me how many people saw these. And this is within the last 14 days. Now my posts, I'm going to do last 14 days. Last 7 days, it won't let me do 14. So in the last 7 days, these are the posts within the last 7 days. The one with me in May, the red panda, got 70 views. And so far, the picture that I have of Brew had 17, and the photo I just posted of Binks has 3. And because Binks I only posted like 2 hours ago. But when I post a story and it's 2 hours ago, I get more views in my story than I do my posts. So keep that in mind. You're going to have more interaction or more views in your stories than with your posts. I don't post that often. Like I said, I don't post that often, but I use my stories often. You will be amazed by the difference of using your stories. So if anybody has any questions, please do let me know. This is for you guys to come back and look on. But if you guys have any questions, like I said, let me know. However, play with your stories. Go in and play with them. Connect. If you have Instagram and you have Facebook, connect the two together. The one thing I will say is when you post on your Facebook stories and you're connected to your Instagram, your Facebook stories will connect to your Instagram stories, so they will be linked. As soon as it's on Facebook, it'll be on Instagram. Your posts from Facebook will not be. Your posts on Facebook, once they post, they're just on Facebook. However, if your Instagram and Facebook are linked and you post on Instagram, your post from Instagram will link to Facebook when you give it permission. So a lot of my posts, I post on Instagram, so that way they post on Facebook. And then I don't have to worry about it. I will also do my stories on Instagram, and then they'll post to Facebook. So most of my stuff is done on Instagram. Another thing, my Instagram is not private. Anybody can follow me and anybody can see what I post. Anybody can comment, anybody can like. There's a reason for that. If you are in network marketing, it is important that you do not have a private Instagram. Instagram is one of the best places to work a network marketing business. That is one of their focuses. A lot of network marketers are on there. So I recommend highly, and so do the rest of the Scentsy consultants above me or on the same level, is to have your Instagram public. Your Facebook can continue to be private. Your VIP group is recommended to be private because when you are scrolling through stuff, you don't, like, nobody wants to see, like, a Scentsy consultant does not want to see your VIP group or all the VIP groups popping up all over the place because it's not for us. It is for your customers. So make sure that you have that private because it's specific for your VIP customers. If anybody wants to be a part of it, they can ask. But you kind of want to vet through that a little bit. So that's why that's recommended to kind of be private. But your Instagram is recommended to be public. That so far is all I have for you guys. If you guys have any questions about anything, let me know. But like I said, go in and play with your stories. Play with your Instagram stories. Figure out how you like that, how to work that. Figure out what works best for you right now and continue to learn. Play with your Facebook stories and do the same thing and figure out which one works better for you personally, which one you like more. And then start working off of that one. Also, before I stop this video, follow the recommended Scentsy consultants to follow. Follow your sponsor, follow your director, follow your superstar director, follow them, because what they're doing is producing fruit. No one is saying to be like them, but when you watch them and you watch what they are doing and you see what they are doing and you see that it's producing fruit, that gives you something to sit back and think, wow, maybe I should be doing something like that. But it'll also show you new ways to do things. If you see somebody doing something and you're like, whoa, they have captions. How do I do that? Play around with your stories. Find it. Google it. If they're using a specific filter, it'll say actually what, I knew I said I was going to go, but it'll say actually what filter they are using. Let me see if I can get it. Come on, let me see. I'm going to go to Chloe. So, see here. Chloe's at the top shows what it is. It shows that she is using the Jasmine by Jazzlario filter. So it'll tell you those. It'll tell you that. It'll tell you what filter they're using. It'll tell you what music they're using. It'll tell you those things. And you can actually, you should be able to go in, you should be able to click it. Yeah, so I just clicked the name and it popped up and it's asking me to save the effect, try it, or view effect page, or send to. So, I mean, it'll give you options to use it. So play around with it. And that's the best that I can suggest, is just play around with it. I gave you the basics. Now run with it and go play with it. And Google is your friend. But follow other Scentsy consultants, especially the ones that are being successful, because those are the people you'll want to follow and you'll want to see what are they doing that is helping them grow and be more successful. What are they doing that I can look at and I can start implementing in my business? Make it my own, but still implement. Because a good leader will never tell you to do something that they are not doing and that does not work. So keep that in mind. But go play with it. Have fun with it. Go play. Bye.